All right. Hello, 10th grade English classes. Hope this message finds you doing well. I wanted to spend a moment to guide you through how to use the HyperDoc for this coming week. So we're going to get off of me and we're going to get it back onto the screen here so that you can see what I'm talking about as I guide you through this. Right now I'm in the Google Classroom page for my fifth block, but this video also applies for third and fourth block English 10 as well. So, in our Google Classroom page, at the top of the page, there's going to be a HyperDoc tomorrow, and there will be some videos, including this one right here that you'll be clicking on. Underneath that, you'll see there is materials, all the poems for the warm-ups and life lyrics. And you'll see there is a new assignment, a log for you to keep your responses, your writing responses to the warm-ups. But below that, I want to point out two things. There is a check-in form. Many of you have already completed this. It's very simple check-in form. What does it ask? Well, your name, your block, your class. Are you aware that we're doing online learning? Do you have the resources you need? And then I asked you any questions you have about distance learning. And I also asked about things you've been doing to stay busy. So from these last two questions, I created a document. And if we go back here in Google Classroom, you'll see there is this distance learning Q&A 10A. If you have not clicked on it yet, I encourage you to do so. It's going to answer probably a lot of questions that you have. Will we meet online for class? Well, as you probably know right now, because you're clicking on this and seeing it, it's videos that I've already recorded. No, we're not going to be meeting online for class, at least at this point in time. LCPS has said that that is not something that we will be doing, and that I will not be able to do video chatting with any students. So, in place of that, we have something called HyperDocs. I'm going to show you one in just a moment, but before I show it to you, I wanted to explain what it is. It's basically a document that is your assignment sheet, your calendar, and all the resources you need, all the materials you need for a specific unit or lesson. The first HyperDoc that we're going to have for our class is really more so geared towards completing stuff that you may not have done. So your research paper, anything that you might be missing, you're going to be working on that this week. Directions to teachers are to provide 30 minutes of schoolwork for students per day. That is between 2.5 to 3.5 hours per week, depending upon weeks or weekends. So there is a lot of good information for you in this document. You're going to notice, though, a lot of my answers are, I don't know. Teachers are in the dark about a lot of things right now, just like you guys are. One thing I do want to point out, if you don't do any of the work, and if by Friday I have not heard from you and don't see that you have been working on any of these things, then I reach out to you and your family. And after that, then we reach out to the administrators and the counselors at the school who get in touch with you guys. Understandably, your physical and mental health is a top priority, so if there is something going on physically and health-wise at home, we'll support you and work with it any way that we can. If you're just deciding not to do any work or not to log in and check the stuff out, then we're going to have to get in touch with you and get that remedied. So, all right. Look at all the crazy stuff that you guys have been up to while we've been away from school. Look at all the stuff that I've been up to, too. Lots of different things going on. All right, let's get back to Google Classroom. And so, like I mentioned, up here at the top of the page, I'm going to post a HyperDoc for the classes. Fifth block, we'll get that on Monday the 30th, and third and fourth blocks will get that on Tuesday the 31st. So, what will that HyperDoc look like? Well, here it is. Here's a sneak peek of what you're going to be getting. The left column is all about the research paper. The right column is additional activities if you complete everything related to the research paper. Instructions are here. Instructions on what you submit and where you submit this. The vast majority of you have already done step 1. You've turned in your outline in Google Classroom. Awesome. The majority of you have actually done step 2. You've completed writing your first draft and you have submitted it and turned it in. If you have not done that yet, that is going to be a priority for you this week, is to submit your first draft and turn it in. Now, if you did submit your first draft and turn it in, your next step is to revise and complete a self-review. So I provided an MLA citation primer and checklist, a self-editing checklist that's linked here, some guidance on reading your revised essay out loud, using Turnitin, looking at the grammar checker in there for feedback, and looking at that sample research paper that I did to provide you a little bit of guidance. When you have completed all your revisions on your research paper, you're going to be able to submit it and turn it in. I would first tell you to check out the rubric to just make sure you've done everything that you're supposed to do. And then where will you complete it and turn it in? Well, you've already submitted your first draft, but underneath that will be an assignment that says research paper first draft revision. This is your final draft. That's where you will submit it, okay? Once you have done all of this, if it is early in the week and you still have a little more time to yourself, well, you're going to have a few different things that you can do. There are warm-up poetry life lyrics that you noticed just a moment ago. If I go back to Google Classroom page, they're right here. So, for this HyperDoc, that is a choice activity you can do after you've completed your research paper. Maybe you complete your research paper, but you didn't complete your Q3 IRP. Well, that would be a top priority to get done as well. But maybe you already did that, and you're thinking, I don't know, what should I do next? Well, there are some different resources to use to find books to read, or maybe reading an article through Newsella. Perhaps you're done with reading, and you're thinking, I would prefer to write something. You've got some writing prompts that you can check out, or you can even start prepping for the SAT or ACT through Khan Academy. So, your goal number one, your top priority, is to complete everything in regard to the research paper. Submit that final draft by Friday, okay? If you complete that, then you have some additional activities here. No matter what, at the end of the week, you're going to complete this Google form right here. What does it look like? It's a check-in form. It's going to show me what you've accomplished during the week. First name, last name, what block you're in. You're going to check the things that you worked on this week, and then you're going to write a little bit about that. Obviously, if you turned in your final research paper and turned it in, I'll be able to see that. So, that will still be something you want to check here. This is what the HyperDoc is going to look like for this week. Our goal is over the next 2 weeks or so to get through the things that are in this HyperDoc and then move on to a new unit, which will be the book Animal Farm by George Orwell. I mentioned in the previous video that goes with this some 3 essential tips for distance learning. And one of the things I mentioned in there is communication. I will be offering virtual office hours where you can send emails or go into a Google Doc and type in questions. For my 10th grade English classes, that's going to be on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. I look forward to continuing to guide you through this year, and I'm excited to see what you come up with in those research papers, all right? All right, everybody have a good day, and we're going to get through this together.